it feels like the chasm between democracy dies in darkness and what we actually present to the American people is really wide.
Yeah.
And has media reckoned with that gap?
I think it continues to reckon. I think it's on a lag, and I think it's done poorly, generally speaking. And we have all learned. I remember years ago at CNN, people used to tell me, well, you work for corporate media. And I sort of say, well, what do you mean by that? Like, why would that make me any better or worse? I've just got resources to do what I'm doing. Now it's a word that stings, right? MS Now is now independent, and that is actually a little different. It does.
Does it feel different? The ratings are up, but tell me about, because now this is really interesting, because when you said it before, corporate media.
Yeah.
I think what they mean by that is, again, and it gets back to the markets discussion we had earlier and immigration in some respect. It's about what is the incentive system?
Yeah.
Has it been financialized? Who are the shareholders? How has this thing, the incentive machine of markets and media, whether it's rewarding, attention or hostility or outrage or short-term interest, how has that changed since you are no longer under the same corporate umbrella?
Well, look, we're still a public company, so there are earnings, and we have to figure that out. But the distinction is because we're not tied to a company that has an FCC license. The range of threats that can be, waged against us are just smaller, right? Nobody can threaten to pull a license, even at MSNBC. I mean, Trump would say it all the time. MSNBC doesn't have a license. Cable companies don't have licenses.
So what does the absence of corporate cowardice do for you as an on-air personality? So, and I say corporate cowardice in the sense of, I've been in those meetings. Where they say, we can't really do that. Why? We have this other thing going, and DeSantis sued Disney, and we don't want to have that happen to us. So we don't want you to poke that bear, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, it takes away a level of threat, right? It means the idea that we can't cover X because we will face retribution from the government goes away. It doesn't take away the commercial pressures of, hey, Velshi, people have to watch your show. So, but I can do that, and you can do that, right? We can curate a show knowing what our viewers want, and build that up ourselves. We don't have to follow some centralized corporate construct for that. So they don't impose one on me, because they say, your show seems to work pretty well. Anything you could do to make it work better would be great. And if you'd like our help with that, we'll give you that help. But for the time being, you're doing okay. Now, if my viewership starts to go away, I'm sure the bosses will have a conversation with me, but that's a normal public company discussion that you would have if you were at Coach or at Walmart or wherever the case is. And you might argue, and I'd probably be with you on this, that probably shouldn't be the discussion, but that's what corporate America is